You now rocking with ZoTheJerk, all the way from Detroit, and we rocking on Streets Connect. I'm ZoTheJerk from Detroit. My new project, Black Beach, is a glimpse inside the American black experience in 2017. It takes us on the highs, it takes us on our lows, our tragedies and our triumphs. And it'll be coming to a store near you May 26, 2017. Make sure you copy that. I linked up with Frost Gamble through a mutual friend, publicist of ours. Her name is B-Girl. She actually introduced us on a podcast that I was hosting on her network called the JN Radio. Frost was the very first person I ever interviewed for this particular platform. We clicked, we formed a brotherhood, and we kind of like twins. Our lifestyles are so similar. So when we immediately started working, I let them know I wanted to do a socially aware album. An album that dove deep into the psyche of the American black man in 2017. And Frost was with that. So we began actually working on Black Beach over a span of 2 years. Just picking songs that we liked that we've done over the past 2 years. And the result is this beautiful Black Beach project coming to your stores May 26, 2017. The meaning behind the title Black Beach is simple. Look at it from this perspective. When you go to the beach, every grain of sand has a story. Whether it's traveled throughout the oceans and washed up on the beach, whether it's been on the beach since day one, every grain of sand has a story. It's the same, yet it's different, which is really the plight of the black man in America. So what I did was I observed it. I looked at the historical value of the term Black Beach and the amount of violence and torment that we suffered as a people when we weren't even allowed to go on a beach because they were segregated. Blacks weren't allowed on the same beach as whites. Go figure, right? I took all of that, I accumulated it, I mixed it up. I looked at the civil rights movement. I looked at the movement that we're living through now. I looked at the phony Black Lives Matter movement. I've looked at every aspect of what makes a black man a black male in America. I mixed it up. Frost gave me a beautiful ambiance to paint the picture on, and I splashed it. Entitled Black Beach. Did you purposefully craft the album to have a powerful social commentary, or did it just happen organically during the recording process? I really don't create without a vision. So I had a vision for tackling things like police brutality, tackling things like broken relationships, tackling topics like black males being prominent figures in their sons' lives, tackling issues of coming from a street hustle mentality, ending all the way to receiving messages through our ancestors which help propel us forward and help us evolve into the spiritual civil beings we're supposed to be today. So I can't say it was coincidental. Some of the songs kind of came about like Kim, Kill Everything Moving. That was inspired actually by Tone Chop. Listening to his battle bars and the way he's able to finesse a beat, I wanted to work with him, and I found what better way to make that happen more than let's just do some hip hop. So some songs have a very clear social commentary, while others provide a very deep entertainment value. So I tried to give a mixture of both to give it a balance, but it was very intentional, extremely intentional. Your track, Loyal Victims, interesting concept of being loyal to being victims. Explain that a little for people and the negative impact. The reason why I say loyal victims, when I look at the plight of the American black people, I look at the way our peaceful approach to dealing with oppression and violence being done to us, the civil way we're able to forgive and interact with the people who systematically, physically, and emotionally just suppressed us. And it's amazing that we have that heart for forgiving and that peaceful nature within us. Regardless of what these doctored statistics tell us, it's amazing that we're able to be as forgiving and as loving as a people as we are. So when I look at loyal victims, it's like my perspective was we've only been loyal to being a victim. We've been victimized by police, victimized by the government, victimized by each other, victimized by other races. We've been historically victims. So I wanted to give us something to think about on that track. So I went to Von Derek Meyer's candlelight visual at the 1-year anniversary of Mike Brown's death in Ferguson, and I got a chance to hear his father speak, and I got a chance to interview and talk with his grandmother. So the sound bites you're hearing are actually from that night. Nobody else has this footage. These are never before heard pieces of social commentary that I shot myself. So the song is very near and dear to my heart. So when I speak of so loyal victims, I want us to raise awareness to say, hey, we keep peacefully allowing ourselves to become victims when we really don't have to. It's okay to stand up for yourself. There's nowhere in any doctrine that you read that says it's not okay to stand up for yourself. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just really to bring awareness with the shock value of, wow, being loyal to being a victim. That's a pretty deep concept when you think about that. I want us to take that concept, I want us to destroy it. So the next album, I want us to have a victorious victim song, so to speak. If that makes sense to you. Revolution looks to me a day where the underdog stands on top. A day where there can be peace and harmony amongst people, human beings of all races and nationalities. I personally believe that a change can be instituted when the right spark is ignited in the right brains at the right time with the right people to claim the revolution that's needed to happen. Because we do need to overthrow the powers that be and institute a new system to help us just be human. I mean, out of everything else that we can go into the politics of it, we can go into the systematic oppression of a people, we can go through all of these layers upon layers upon layers. All those layers we peel back like an onion, we just doing that to get back to just being human. Just to be able to get back to eating pure food. Just to be able to get back to being able to say hi to one another without us thinking it's an ulterior motive. Just to get back to being human. So revolution, winning a revolution looks like to me being able to be human without prejudice, being able to be human without judgment, being able to be human without there having to be an ulterior motive, being able to love freely. That's what revolution is about for me. It's not about murder, it's not about mayhem, it's not about anarchy. It's about complete and total freedom to love, be human, and be free. Time for family, work, and music. How do you manage that? I believe nobody can manage that. Everything in life is a balance. So every human being's normal is different than the next human being's normal. So my normal with my time constraints is the normal that my children, they understand that because they don't know any other way. So for them, it's not about managing up the time. It's dad has to do this. We can be a part of it because my world is open enough for them to come and be wherever I am, anywhere in the world. Wherever they're at, anywhere in the world, I can intertwine with them. We have technology. We use it for that. To stay in contact with each other, just to know how each other doing, just to laugh and joke. If they see a funny meme, they send it to me. I see a funny one, I send it to them. Just for us to stay connected is the most important thing. When you develop a relationship and a rapport and a trust factor with your children and with your family in general, time constraints really don't matter. That's a man-made construct. We maneuver through time the way we choose to manipulate. So in my universe, in my paradox, in my dimension, time moves very slow for me. I have time in the day because I don't waste time. I have time all day to be able to create my art, to be able to earn a living, to be able to sell music, to promote, to go on promo runs, to be able to do videos. Although I'm sorry I'm late getting this back to you. I'm able to be at my son's graduation, be at my daughter's gymnastics, be at my son's football game. I'm able to make all these things happen because I strategically coordinate every hour of the day that I have to be able to execute these ideas. Now, will I say some days is it more tiring than others? Yes, of course it is. I even have time to love my woman. You know what I'm saying? And that's a very important thing. You're not able to raise healthy children if you're not in an environment to where your woman is happy. So you have to, it's truly a balance. You move cross country, you have to put yourself in position to be able to man up and be the man who you say you were, to be able to keep every facet in your life, from your grandmother to your parents who are aging, to your sisters who are aging, to their children, to be able to be a part of everybody's life. That's the human experience. Because without that, what am I doing this for? You know what I mean? What do I create this art and leave this legacy for if I'm not able to be happy with the people who are helping me to fuel me with the stories to be able to create it and share it with you. Because out of every story you hear on the album, it was a piece of those facets. Even my cousin Bo, even good friends. It's a piece of those people that help make those experiences memorable. Those experiences memorable for me. It makes it alive. It gives it that piece of love, that struggle that you can hear in the music. It's the paradox of taking time and making it yours. Instead of letting your day dictate you, you get on your agenda and you own your day. And it starts the moment you wake up. Appeared in the film 8 Mile. How did that come about, and would you consider getting more involved in the world of acting in the future? I was actually cast in the movie 8 Mile as an extra. They used a couple of my cars in some scenes that they had actually. So the thing about that was being cast as an extra in the movie, I was able to see the way Hollywood does films, the actual production value that it takes to make a movie as stellar as the movie 8 Mile. The blessing in being cast in that movie is that's actually how I met Big Proof at D12. Rest in peace, duty. I met Proof because my partner, Regal Beagle, who was in my group IMAC along with myself, Regal Beagle, and Hashes Clay, we were in the movie 8 Mile. Hashes Clay, I think, was living in Saginaw at the time. He wasn't there, but Regal Beagle was there, and he was able to get on stage and actually battle in between scenes when they shot the shelter scene in the movie 8 Mile. Now, what's interesting about that is we met Big Proof because Big Proof was stunned by a bar that my partner said. It was something like, you dumb as Everlast starting a battle with Eminem, and the whole crowd went wild. So we began a mutual respect. From that, I was able to give Big Proof my CD, here's our demo, check us out, bro. He gave me a call. He said, I really like it. I'm doing a project called A Bunch of Black Folks. I would love to put your music on it. Come down and meet us. And fast forward, that's how our partnership, friendship, and mentorship began with Proof. Now, the question being, would I get involved in acting again? Definitely. I think acting is an art form that allows the actor to kind of take himself out of his body and become another person, which makes us sensitive to the plight of people more and humanity, in my opinion. Because if I'm able to walk in someone else's shoes, I know their story, and I can go through it and see what they're going through and actually live as that person, it kind of gives me a more in-depth look into what the human experience is about. So acting for me, definitely will do. You met the late Proof on the 8 Mile set. Tell us about the working relationship that followed and how you found him to be in person. I've never, ever met a person like Big Proof. I'm historically known as a person who I don't joke much. I'm a funny guy. Like, I'll joke around, but I don't play much. It's not really my thing. It's not my personality type. So Proof doesn't care who you are or what it is you do. You could be the toughest gangster in the world or the biggest goofball. Proof had an uncanny ability to be himself. And that's what made him such a remarkable and memorable human being. The way he could meet someone he doesn't know, take them under his wing, just be a caring human being to him. He judged nobody. He would deal with you right on the level of life that you were at. I've heard a ton of wild stories about how Proof would be when he was drinking or allegedly using drugs or whatever the case may be. I've never seen that Proof. And I've been traveling around with Proof. I've been to many night spots with Proof. I'll tell you a story. I met, one day we were chilling in Proof's office in downtown Detroit. My office was across the street. I was doing telecom, working at AT&T, so I would walk over there and just go kick it with Proof because we had worked out a distribution deal with him to put out a couple of iMac mixtapes, right? Now, Proof had this hot sauce called Ass Reaper. This is the hottest hot sauce in the world, supposedly. So I was drinking a Corona, we're chilling, and we're all in the office. It's probably a ton of other artists around. Dodo was there. I want to say maybe Wolfpack, Super MC. It was just a ton of us were in the office. Proof, I sit my beer down, turn my back, and I turn to watch the TV. Proof put some of this Ass Reaper around the rim of my drink. Now, again, I'm telling you, historically, I'm not the guy for practical jokes. I don't really play with grown men like that. So when he did it, I didn't know. I took a sip. Lips went numb, puffed up. I'm like, what happened to my beer? Everybody's dying laughing because this is what Proof does. He's a practical joker. But I know the mutual respect between me and Proof was what it was, and that day it kind of taught me to relax. And it's okay to laugh and joke. I learned from that. Like, it's kind of cool when you're around your people and your family to be able to kick back and just joke around and live a little. But I never got to get him back for that. I still owe him one for that. Well, I guess you could say when we were in Milwaukee, I beat him in a game of checkers, and he prides himself on being a checker king. And I beat him in checkers like real quick because I've been playing my whole life, and that's one of my favorite games as well. And he was stunned that I beat him. He wanted to keep playing until he beat me. And I'm like, dude, I kind of lost interest after the first time because it was kind of easy for me. But Proof's personality as a human being, he will always be missed. That's why he's loved and adored and revered as the mayor of Detroit by those who know and love him in the city. He was just a good guy. I just don't have bad stories about the man. I can't speak on things that he did when I wasn't around, but when he was murdered, the pain was genuine. You know, I sat at his funeral, we cried together, you know what I'm saying, to see so many artists in a community of over 1,000 people at a funeral with security there was kind of crazy. It's an experience I'll never forget. Rest in peace, Proof, man. We love you and we still miss you. We're still out here rocking for you. Detroit hip hop forever. My most memorable show probably had to be in 2000, I want to say. We did a show up at Michigan State, and we got booed terribly. This was like my first show ever, and it was in front of like 2,000 people at Michigan State. We did an Apollo night. So we hop up on stage. This was right after some kids performed, and the audience was going crazy and support and love for them. So all the lights, for some reason, went out, smoke came out, you couldn't even see us. Our sound was terrible. I had no idea on how to work or MC a crowd. I had just started doing music, so we jumped on stage thinking we were gonna bring the house down, and we were on our ways to being superstars that day. Fate had another agenda for us that day. The crowd booed us terribly. So at that point, I didn't know how to react. I'm a street guy, you know, people talking crazy. I'm cussing at the crowd. Fuck you guys, blah, 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 blah. Going back and forth with them. Just as that was happening, the kids walked out in front of us. Now, when I say kids, these dudes were probably 16, 17, and we're at the time, I jumped down off the stage, kind of knocked one of them down, and I felt bad about that to this day. Whoever you are, if you ever see this, I apologize for that. That wasn't one of my best moments. And we proceeded to tear up the bathroom. It's like we went totally left, as if we blamed the crowd because we thought we were so dope. But that was the most humbling experience of a show that I will ever remember, man. That was amazing. So if you look at the social climate of, is it a healthy environment for artists to do shows? Is it an audience for that? Yeah, of course it is. But I don't think most independent artists do shows. They prance back and forth on stage and they rap. There's a lack of emceeing and being able to finesse the crowd and get the crowd to win the crowd and get them to work with you. It's not necessarily about the music sometimes, it's more about the showmanship. We don't really have artists who do shows. If you look at Tech Nine's touring schedule, he tours the whole year, 170 something shows in a year. Of course, live music is still alive and well because you can't replicate the being there experience, to being experience that with a stranger. Because at one moment, as an MC, when you look out at a crowd, you got the whole crowd in one energy, in one space, focused on one thing, and that's you and your every word. And if you don't know how to command that, and if you don't have a show to keep people enthused about paying attention, you have nothing. So my advice to any artist would be, if you don't have a live show, you can write the best songs, you can do all of that, don't mean nothing. If you can't stand up and rock a crowd, you're a YouTube rapper. In a nutshell. What was your worst 9 to 5 ever, and what advice would you give someone grinding in the downbeat job looking to change their job situation? Again, every animal's perspective and experiences are different. I've never really had a bad job. I never wanted to work for someone, so I hustled. So only way my job could really be bad is if I did bad things or if I put out bad karma and it came back to me. And I've really never been that type of person. I'm a real live and let live animal. As long as you respect the universe and its rules, the universe will respect and love you back. Now, I did work at Taco Bell. That was an interesting job, and we did some things in there that were rather risque. Me and my cousin, my brother, Bo, we worked there together. So he would work drive-through, I would make the food, and we would hustle money that way. I I've sold drugs through the drive-through window at McDonald's just when I was hustling to be able to live and do different things, because I thought in the environment I was in, that's what I had to do to survive, when it wasn't. So when I decided to cross the threshold into getting into, I don't want to do that, I'm not trying to go to prison or get killed, and I got serious about music, but I knew I needed money to be able to fund what I was trying to do, I ended up entering corporate America and found out that my technical prowess and my ability to pay attention to detail were very sought after attributes and helped me excel in corporate America very fast. And I think that as a people, if you're stuck in a job you don't want to be in and it's draining for you, but you feel like you have to do it to survive, you have to be accountable before you're allowing yourself to be in that situation, because you have the ability to change it. There's a ton of information, there's a ton of free courses, there's a ton of certifications you can get. Sometimes you have to just grab life by the balls and make a career change and say, I'm going to go through this change. I know it's going to be difficult, I know there's going to be sleepless nights, I know there's going to be a lot that entails in doing that, but you can do it. I taught myself, I never took courses, and I earned my CNA just by reading books and watching tutorials. Not my CNA, CCNA, which is a Cisco programming language. You know, I'm able to set up entire networks on my own. I'm also a very dope rapper. I'm also a very good father, an excellent father. You know, I'm also my kids' best friends. I'm also a loving brother, a loving son, a loving mate to my person. You know what I'm saying? I'm a loving person in general to all who it applies to, because I chose to make that change. When you take accountability for yourself and you decide, hey, this is what I want to do. I'm not liking where I'm at. I'm in this dead-end job. It's not my life's purpose. It's your responsibility to say, I'm going to change that. Whatever road you have to travel, whatever skill map you need to do to get there, just do it. You really have no excuse to be in a dead-end job. The only excuse to you being in a dead-end job is because you choose not to change it. You really don't have the balls to accept or to go through the trials and tribulations of change. If you're stirring water, my pastor taught me this, if you're stirring water in a pot for the wrong way for years, yeah, the water seems to flow smooth. It's flowing smooth in a circle. But as soon as you decide to go in the other direction, there'll be turbulence. The water's rocky, it won't stir smooth. But after a few minutes, if you keep stirring in that other direction, guess what? It smooths out. Now you're going in the right direction very smoothly. That analogy of being the water, from Bruce Lee to what my pastor taught me to what life has taught me, is the best analogy for life. You have to be able to change. You cannot be stuck in the same way where you fall behind. Life is not waiting on you. Life is a steadily evolving process. And if you're not evolving with it, you're in a deadbeat job. You're feeling like you can't live your dreams. You feel like it's no point in being alive. So to get that fire back, to get that charge back, we have to be accountable. And we have to look at ourselves. We have to get up off our ass and go get the things out of life we want. That's how you master Black Beach. I want people to enjoy Black Beach. I want people to listen to the social commentary throughout the album. I want people to find the hidden metaphors and jewels and pieces of motivation, inspiration, and pieces of my soul I put into this album. Me and Frost worked diligently, long hours. Him being on my back thinking he bugging me, so get the songs done. We changed 70% of this album, like right at the point, maybe a week or so before we were supposed to turn in the album. From that, sometimes I get drained trying to conceptualize and say things in a way that's user-friendly so everybody can understand, because I know sometimes I get a little far out there and it's kind of difficult to understand the message. And if people can't understand the message, it's not worth anything. So I sometimes have to figure out how to say things in a way that people can catch on. You know what I'm saying? They can grasp it and they can use it in their daily life. It's not just about being a dope MC or trying to make money. It's not just about trying to get comfort of life and I want to be a star and rock big jewelry and diamonds and drive cars. I've been doing that since I was 16. It's not an exciting thing. The legacy I want to leave, I'll say, is I want to touch people. I want to help people grow. When people sit and they listen to Black Beach, I want them to be able to identify with some of the stories. I want them to laugh at some of the jokes that I tell on it. I want them to be able to visualize and actually see the art. I want them to look at it like a Picasso painting and see it as something rare in a time where you really don't see but one or two artists willing to take a chance and open themselves up and be vulnerable as a human being and tell their story. I want people to connect with Black Beach. I want them to enjoy it. I I want them to purchase it. I want them to take this album and let them know that the underground is alive. I want them to shoot a star up through the underground. A voice, so to speak. A phoenix rising. Let people know, hey, it's a guy over here who actually cares about us. He makes music that makes sense. He makes music we can still be entertained by. We can still rock to. He still got bars. He's still doing everything that an entertainer's supposed to do, but he's giving us something that we can feel, something that we can look back years from now and say, this still has marketability and it's still able to play at a party. It still has value. That's what life is about, adding value to the next human being. This time next year, I see myself dropping maybe a few more projects in between now and next year, maybe one or two more, host of singles in between. And this time next year, I'm gonna continue my climb to reach people. See, it's never about the money, it's always about people. The more people I can reach with my story, the more people I can testify in front of, the more people I can bring into a awakening, the evolution of what hip-hop should be, an evolution of what we should be as human beings. That's my job, that's my purpose. So this time next year, you'll still see me, you'll still hear from me. The art will have exploded to another level, because the music we're making now after Black Beach has blossomed beautifully from that point to this point. So this time next year, I'm coming for that #1 spot. And I'll hold that #1 spot with integrity, and I'll hold that #1 spot with a sense of social responsibility, and I'll hold that #1 spot as a strong black man. Thanks, Streets and Streets Connect, for your time. I enjoyed it. You've been rocking with ZoTheJerk.